Hey guys, and welcome back. I'm Seiben bringing you more Magic the Gathering speculation. Today's video is all about death, or rather the lack of death to characters in the world of MTG. So obviously the topic of death isn't a very pleasant one, especially when you're referring to characters or stories you've known for a long time and really enjoy. There's a lot of reasons why a company or story would keep characters alive. Like for example, if Nintendo decided to kill off Mario in one of their games, I'm assuming they'd see some negative feedback. But on the other hand, killing characters can lead to an emotional experience for fans while also driving home key story developments. Let's take a look at death in the world of Magic the Gathering. Through Magic's storied history, we've seen a number of important characters die, one of the most iconic being Venser, who sacrificed himself to save the artificial planeswalker Karn from the corruption of the Phyrexians. But in truth, Magic, especially in recent history, has kinda shied away from killing characters off. The most recent death to the major continuity players in MTG came when Elspeth died on the plane of Theros. Elspeth's death was the crescendo for the Theros story arc, coming at a time when the Planeswalker had finally achieved her goal on the plane and had some level of peace. Her death really came out of left field, but thanks to a beautifully laid out story, it was somewhat satisfying. Now, I'm not saying that Elspeth dying was a good thing, it was truly tragic, but in that tragedy held what made Theros a really deep story. We watched as this hero, Elspeth, who only wanted to find a lasting home, goes through trial after trial. All throughout, she becomes hated and ostracized for doing what she believed was the right thing. At the end of it all, she became the true hero she always was, and she's rewarded with a spear through the chest. Theros built the story up to a point in which it was logical to see Elspeth fall. It's not that we wanted it to happen, but it was befitting for her tragic story. Of course, wizards being wizards, they couldn't let a great character like Elspeth truly die, so she goes to the underworld of Theros, the land of the dead. For all intents and purposes, Elspeth is dead, but right now they left the story open so she could be rescued potentially sometime in the future. I for one felt like Elspeth dying brought something to MTG which it's been lacking lately, a heroic tragedy. Now, people in Magic die all the time. Just look at the current Battle for Zendikar story. Scores of individuals are dying left and right, but these deaths aren't personal to us. We aren't really invested in the life of random Zendikari number 8. But our heroes are. To the planeswalkers on Zendikar, every single life lost is a great failure. This impacts their stories, yes, but it doesn't really affect us emotionally. What we need in Magic's storyline are more tales like Elspeth, and I kinda feel like that's what direction we're headed in with Battle for Zendikar. Death on Zendikar is everywhere. Frankly, the plane is saturated with it. It's become so commonplace that it truly feels like the world is ending. This fact is ever present in the mind of the story's main protagonist, Gideon Jura. Gideon swore himself to defend the plane, something his white mana alignment just calls for him to do. But this isn't his home, these aren't his people. They're simply people. People who need Gideon's help. Gideon has poured all his energy into defending these people on Zendikar, and it appears he's starting to slow down. His thoughts and temperament are changing from the gun-ho hero to more of a wounded warrior struggling to continue the fight. He won't ever give up, and he knows it, but he also knows he isn't invincible. His mortality is becoming more and more evident. With every drop of sweat he surrenders over to the Eldrazi, Gideon grows weaker. The story certainly looks as if it's setting Gideon up to be the next major death in Magic the Gathering. On top of the evidence that the story is pointing us in this direction, many others have noted his actual card in Battle for Zendikar is as well. Gideon's ultimate ability on Gideon Ally of Zendikar allows him to forfeit all of his loyalty counters when it's first available. This is very unique to Planeswalkers, as they typically make you wait at least a few turns before you can activate their strongest effect. When a Planeswalker loses all of their loyalty counters, they die, and this is what many people point to as a sign of Gideon's coming fate. They recognize that this may be Gideon sacrificing himself for the whole of Zendikar, ending his own life, but empowering the others to continue the fight. It's a really cool theory, and it would be pretty neat to see this kind of event noted in a Planeswalker's card. Yet it hasn't happened yet, and who knows how the story could turn out. MTG is a game which has balanced its Planeswalkers fairly nicely so far. We still have a standard of 5 solid colored Planeswalkers, with only a few notable characters per color. Can Wizards actually kill off Gideon? Well, I think they can, but they would need another solid white Planeswalker to replace him in the main storyline. Elspeth is another white Planeswalker, but like I said, she's still dead, and we're unlikely to return to her story so soon. We also have a Johnny, who is sometimes a multicolored Planeswalker, but is oftentimes just solid white. His story is directly tied to Elspeth, but since they parted ways, we could see him return should Gideon die on Zendikar. I actually hope for neither of them to return right now. If Gideon dies, this would be Wizards' perfect opportunity to forge a new white-aligned Planeswalker. Throughout Planeswalking history, we've seen a trend with those aligned with white mana. They are true heroes, just and brave. Ajani has been influenced by anger and rage in the past, but for the most part, their characters stay pretty consistent. If Gideon dies and Wizards makes a new white Planeswalker, they could shake up the entire dynamic. If people are tired of the goody two-shoes, brave and the bold style of white Planeswalkers, maybe you could create a character who is more arrogant and less willing to play well with others. There's many different aspects to white mana that the designers could take from to make a truly interesting character for future storylines. In any case guys, these are just my thoughts on the story of MTG when it comes to deaths of major characters. I for one believe that Wizards could kill off Planeswalkers in a tragic fashion and make an amazing story out of it, while at the same time opening up positions for new characters. I want to know what you guys think. Do you believe Gideon will die on Zendikar? If so, what Planeswalker could replace him in the ongoing storyline? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It goes a long way in supporting future content. As always guys, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.